All right, let's go into SPY price action analysis. So far, we have a beautiful breakout above the 550 resistance level that we mentioned yesterday. This bullish hammer here created this big wick, and anytime you get a wick reaction off of a support level, that signifies very strong demand. So that demand was digested by another follow through candle, which printed a massive green candle just above the 20 EMA line. And as soon as we started to hold above the 20 EMA line, our first target was this 547. So when we were down here at 543, when we were down at 543.60, we told ourselves if we get above 543.60 heading into Tuesday's trading session, we would be trading that heading towards 547 resistance. And if the 547 resistance gets broken out, there would be no other resistance up front, and that we would head all the way towards the 550 predestined resistance level up ahead. And not only did we say that we would head towards 550, but we also said that we may even possibly break out on this potential cup and handle formation we have here. So far, beautiful breakout on the cup and handle formation. And the three candles that we have here on the 4-hour time frame that triggered this breakout, that basically is the starting entry for this breakout, is called a three white soldiers. So let's pull that up really fast and let's take a look at what candlestick that is. So the three white soldiers happens at the bottom, or not at the bottom. It happens anytime you have a starting entry for a trend. And this is what can be expected. You see these three white soldiers. And after that, you anticipate some sort of digestion to take place. And once the digestion has been basically placed and established, and the digestion is simply accepting the breakout of the price. It's digesting that prior rally. So the fact that he's digesting it and price is getting accepted above 550 heading into Friday as well as Monday session means that we will go for another big breakout, very similar to this one. So you see we had a three white soldiers, digestion, and then another big rally. This is something that we can expect again. So this is what a three white soldiers is. It doesn't have to happen at the bottom of a downtrend. It can happen anywhere where you can have a starting, we can see it here, anywhere where you can have a starting entry or a starting point for a trend formation. So it is like having the base of the trend formed, and then from there, that's where we will go higher. So another key, a very important key note to mention is that the RSI is above 70%. Now, when you have an uptrending structure, and the RSI is above 70%, that triggers what is known as a melt-up operation. And what happens during a melt-up operation is very strange, and the candles just gap up and form these massive demand size candles. As we can see here, we had a melt up operation right here on this day, and that triggered some heavy candles pushing from 523 all the way to 531. We can go back to the past and look at other time frames where we have melted up, and anytime we have melted up, candles have gotten very crazy. We melted up here again just above this resistance breakout, and you can see another massive melt up. So this is also another very beautiful setup where we have the resistance breakout and the RSI is getting above 70% with volume backed. And another thing that I love about this particular indicator, the TTM squeeze, this tells me how much fuel is in a rally. Now, I always say I really feel bad for any trader that says, oh, I'm too good for indicators and misses out on this particular one, because this is another one that I've built my price action strategy on. And what this basically tells me is it shows shows me how much fuel there is within this upswing. So in this case, it shows that we have a lot of fuel, and there could be some nice upside for the next 2 weeks into July, because it is historically known for the first 2 weeks of July to be the most bullish time in the stock market. So yeah, team, the 4-hour time frame has a beautiful three white soldiers starting point, starting that uptrend, and this could lead to some beautiful upside for the next 2 weeks. Let's go to the hourly time frame. Hourly time frame, beautiful breakout again. It all began at the starting entry of this demand candle. We mentioned this demand candle in yesterday's trading session, and we said that this can propel price action towards 547. And if we break 547, we would see 550. Here we are, we're seeing 550, and so far we have broken out above 550. So as long as 550 digests here and bulls continue to make new highs above 551.78 and so forth, we will continue to go higher. Let's go to the daily time frame. Take a look at the daily. This is how the daily looks. As we mentioned yesterday, we have a green candle follow through that broke above resistance. That can see more upside, especially with the RSI on the daily time frame as well, getting above 71.7% and triggering that melt up operation. This is the last time we got above 70%. We had a nice move, but it was not as strong as this one, this particular setup that we have here, which can see more upside heading into next week. Let's take a look at the weekly time frame on SPY. Weekly time frame as well. The weekly time frame made new highs after those two bearish candles that created a lot of liquidity for the bulls. And now that we have broken the resistance, the top of those two bearish candles with a big green candle, that means that bears are going to cover their short positions and propel this move higher with another green candle next week, perhaps towards 550. 555. All right, let's take a look at the monthly. The monthly time frame also very strong, and we just made a new high above the prior month candle. So this means that the trend resumes and can continue to see more upside. If we do get above the 70% RSI on the monthly, things are going to get very, very squeezy on the S&P 500, especially considering that all of the indexes and pretty much all of the sectors are very well aligned this time. Like I've never really seen it align so well, with Apple breaking out. We can see we have been mentioning Apple in the last 3 days, Apple strength, and Apple beautiful breakout above resistance. And so far we're looking like we have a rally-based rally that's continuing to break out towards the 230s with the RSI above 70%. Let's take a look at Microsoft here. Microsoft also printed another candle and just continues to short squeeze, as we said. We said when we were here around 455, we said that we would be heading towards 460 by the end of this week, and maybe even 465 to 470 by the end of next Friday, or by mid-July. And also we had another news. Nvidia printed a massive demand candle, invalidating that bearish bear flag that we had. This means that Nvidia is no longer in a bear flag formation. The TTM squeeze fired to the downside, which means we have flushed off all of the selling, and we have printed a massive demand candle back up above the 20 EMA line and closed all above the prior candles here that were showing a lot of weakness. This means that Nvidia is going to get significant more upside for the next 2 weeks. And this particular news, this particular day, this massive demand candle was also propelled by Nancy Pelosi's buying more, adding more on Nvidia. So this is great news for Nvidia bulls, and I think we can see more upside for a retest at 135. The 135 should be a strong resistance, but that is a pretty good move. That's about a $7 move from the current levels at 135. 127. So as long as we maintain above 127.80 heading into Monday session, you can take into account the consideration that the TTM squeeze has fired, which means the selling has fired to the downside. It has exhausted, and now bulls are in control, and they can first head towards this wick at 130.62. So if we hold above 127 heading into Monday session, your first target can be 130.68, and then your second target can be 135.63. Those are the two targets that I'm looking forward to on Nvidia heading into next week. All right, so another stock that's on my watch list is another chip stock, AMD. AMD is finally breaking the downtrend here. We finally have a break of this downtrend with a strong demand candle on the daily time frame. We had a beautiful digestion up here for about 3 to 4 weeks, a whole month, refusing to go lower, maintaining this higher low structure. And now that we have a demand candle, anytime we have a demand candle, it is a starting point for an uptrend. So for a new bull uptrend. And in this case, if that is the starting trend, where's our next resistance overhead for AMD? That's at 172. So 172 to 173 area is the next resistance. Once we reach 173, to be more precise, so that you guys can trade it, 172.52. Once we touch 172.52 and we also hold very well around that level, then this will trigger another higher high all the way towards 187. So let's take a look at what's been happening on AMD. Basically, we came back, we went all the way to 227, riding this uptrend, right? And I do want to show you something else. Matter of fact, you see this demand candle, team? This demand candle is pretty much very similar to that one. This one is very similar to that one. It even has the yellow momentum signal, which is one of my customized TOS scripts for the momentum crossover, happening in the same way that it happened there. So I think this is another great signal for the AMD buyers that we are now ready to see some extensive upside for AMD. So to go over this quick analysis here, what we had was we had a massive rally, and then we had a base formation that digested that prior rally, and now and then we had another massive rally, and now we have been selling off, correcting that big rally, and we are back down to that prior demand zone. So that prior smart money demand zone turned that level into support, and we held it really well. The fact that we digested it really well, and we continue to print demand candles, and now we have this downtrend, we have this breakout from the downtrend. I think we are now ready to go for another rally back up to further establish the resistance up here at 214. So now that AMD printed this demand candle as a starting entry above the 20 EMA line, we are anticipating expansion from here all the way towards the 215 area. If we go to the weekly time frame here, we can see that AMD has really been holding up and buyers are really showing up. This could be a nice double bottom back up. So this is what I'm saying. If we go into next week or in the next 2 weeks and AMD starts to print a big demand candle towards this resistance level at 173, you can see why this is going to start looking much more bullish, and this double bottom could really propel prices towards the 200s and then the 215 heading into the end of this year. So I have been buying AMD shares, and I also am holding January 16, 2026, 250 and 220 calls. And my target is this resistance, and that's giving me about 1.5 years to reach that level of resistance at 215 to 220 area. But yeah, so far I'm very bullish on AMD. This is a stock that I love long term, and it is just at the 200 SMA line. You can see anytime we come back down to the 200 SMA line, what happens is let's Let's zoom in a little bit, team. You can see once we come back down to the 200 SMA line, we break the downtrend there, which we already have broken the downtrend. And once we break the downtrend, what happens is we basically go for another expansion away from the 200 SMA line. So I find that to be a great opportunity for AMD, and I'm looking forward to trading it with the team. Here's another chart for AMD. This one looks like we had a head and shoulders that clearly fired down a little bit, but then started to get invalidated with bulls really stepping in at that smart money demand zone. And so far, we have broken out of that downtrend. We have a demand candle, and it looks like we are going to further establish resistance at the 187 by further going there. Here's what I think. We can go there and then even come back down, then turn the 172 into resistance, and then break out for the third retest, which is the confirmation above 187, and then advance higher from there towards the 215 area. So far, I'm really loving the AMD setup, and to look at things on the bigger picture, we have this potential cup and handle formation. So this cup and handle formation can send AMD for the next 3 years at least towards 275 to 325 for the next 3 years. And yeah, if this formation plays out, if this cup and handle plays out, then this can send prices towards 275 to 325 for the next 3 years. And yeah, team, that concludes my analysis for today. Take care all. Have a wonderful rest of the day. And happy 4th of July.